Hey there, it's Jazz. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you step by step on how to open the M1 Finance app, and on top of that, how you can actually start investing as an M1 Finance beginner. I know when I first started investing, I started with Robinhood and I did not have any guidance. It was so overwhelming and I really didn't understand what I was doing and why they were asking me all these questions. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the qualifications that you need to open an M1 Finance account, what they provide and the benefits when it comes to M1 Finance, because I used to invest with Robinhood. And on top of that, I'm going to show you the process to actually transfer money into your account. And on top of that, how to create your own pie and invest. So please stick until the end of the video because I will be showing you step by step on how to do all of this, and hopefully I'm able to answer all of your beginner questions. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button if I end up bringing you any value. And with that being said, let's get to the video. So the first step is, of course, hitting the like button if I end up bringing you any value. And the second is to download the M1 Finance app. Super simple. It's provided for both Android and Apple, so you can go ahead and download it. And from there, what they're gonna actually ask you are some couple of questions, and I'm gonna go ahead and give you the qualifications. Now, if you haven't created an account just yet, I would be extremely grateful if you use the referral link down below or this one right here up in the screen. It would help my channel and it would, of course, help me have more cups of coffee so I can make more videos like this for you. But if you already have an account or you don't want to use my referral link, I would still be extremely grateful that you're watching this video. At this time, to open an account with this brokerage, you need to be a US citizen or a permanent resident, and yes, green card holders are also accepted. On top of that, you have to be the age of 18 or older, and on top of that, you have to have a current US residential address and a US phone number to be able to open an M1 Finance account. Now, the cool thing about M1 Finance is that they have so many different accounts that you can open up. You can actually have 5 different accounts with one person. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into it. You can open individual accounts, and that is recommended as a beginner. That is how you can actually create your pie account or be able to start investing. And you can also do some joint accounts. So if you are married or you have a parent or you just want to join in with your brother or sister, you can do this as well. On top of that, you can also open IRA accounts, trust accounts, custodial accounts with the M1 Plus users only. So please keep that in mind. Now, with that being said, once we have all of that, you've downloaded your app and you've been through the whole process, I want to go ahead and open the app itself and walk you through it, because I will say from going from a Robinhood user to an M1 Finance, it was kind of overwhelming because it's not as beginner friendly as it is with Robinhood. So hopefully I can kind of break everything down and kind of walk you through everything, so when you open it, you kind of know what you're doing. So once we're here on my phone, we're going to go ahead and click the M1 Finance app. And then you're going to see right here, to me, it just does the Face ID, which is pretty cool because then I don't got to show you or hide anything from you. So right here, the first thing that you're going to want to do is it's going to open up this view, right? Now, there are 4 steps that you want to do before this, and it's going to upload here in the front, but unfortunately, because I've already been through it, it's not going to ask me for it. But the 4 things you got to do is, of course, verify your email address, and then go ahead and apply any checking account or any business account that you want to transfer the money here. And then from there, you got to deposit. And I believe the 4th one is basically having that deposit actually transfer into your accounts, because it does take a business day or so for it to transfer. So right here, you're going to see that this is the main section of your app. It's going to say create new pie, and we will go there. I will show you how to do that. And then from there, you're going to have the spend option. This is basically for M1 or plus M1 Plus members. This is more of like your checking and all that good stuff, but I would just leave at what you're using now. From there, you can go ahead and see what has been transferred. Right here, you want to go ahead and connect any big account that you want. You can move money. From here, you can see that I transferred $200 from my checking account to this app. But I will say this, you only need $100 when it comes to starting your M1 Finance account. But I will say this one thing. When it comes to Robinhood, you don't need any amount to start. But the cool thing about M1 Finance is that everything is organized in a pie. So it's like asset allocation, which is a fancy way of saying that you can see how much of an asset you are investing in one circle, right? So then from there, if you want to say you want to invest more into stocks than bonds, you will have an overall overview on how much your overall money is invested in stocks, like for example 80% and 20% bonds. And you can't really do that when it comes to Robinhood, because with Robinhood it's basically just applied from every stock that you have. And another benefit with this, which I will show you, is when it comes to borrowing money in case there's an emergency, which I will explain later, which is a huge plus and the main reason why I also wanted to start investing into this app. But from there, I'm gonna go ahead and show you something. When you want to click move money, you're gonna have a one-time transfer, right? Let's say that you want to start investing $100, so you want to just transfer it once. The thing about M1 Finance is that if you don't have the M1 Plus, you only have one trade per day. So if you do transfer money, that is considered a trade in their eyes. So just keep that in mind. And that's what I've experienced with their app. You can also have reoccurring transfers. So if you want to start a scheduled funding, you can also do that. You can also use a smart transfer. This one is only for M1 accounts with like the rules. That is another topic that I will explain if you want to become an M1 Plus member. And then also account transfer, and this is if you have, like for example, another account with Robinhood or Fidelity and you want to transfer all of your stocks into this brokerage account. You can do that with this tab right here. And then from there you can see that if you have, for example, a 401k, if you have any other Roth IRAs, for example, if you have Vanguard or Fidelity or Robinhood or any other brokerage accounts out there, you can use this tab to transfer any amount that you have. If you don't want to start from zero, like if you don't want to, start with $100, you can also transfer that here. And then from there, I want to show you the reoccurring transfer. This is something that I would recommend. I will be showing you more insight on, for example, what I invest in and like the companies and all of that. So I will be transferring $50 every week so I can have some play money, but you can transfer as little or as much. You can transfer as much as you want. Just know that this is such a huge part that comes with investing. You want to take advantage of the compounding effect. So I would recommend to start off with $5, $10, whatever it is. It's something, and it will help you enormously, because sometimes we forget that little habits make a huge impact in our lives. So we're going to go ahead and tap on this. So from here, you're going to see from select account to select account. That is basically asking you to select from your bank account to which account in your app. So remember how I told you in the beginning, you can have up to 5 accounts with one user. So for example, you can have a Roth IRA, you can have multiple accounts when it comes to your pies and all that good jazz. So from here, it's just making sure that when you're going to transfer money, it's going to that specific account and not like going in a random place, and then you can later on have some issues with M1 Finance. So right here, you can go ahead and click the amount. Let's say I want to put $50 and then select. I can do bi-weekly, weekly, week of month. So I'm gonna go ahead bi-weekly, and then I can select the start week and when to start and all that good jazz, and week starts on Mondays, not Sundays. You can do that if you want to, and then from there, right now I have no rules when it comes to transferring. And then from borrowing, this is such an important tab, and this is one of the main reasons why I transferred from Robinhood and going to start using M1 Finance, is because of this borrow tab. As you can see right here, the borrow at one of the lowest rates, which is 3.5%, meaning that you can borrow 35% of your portfolio, meaning if you have $100,000 invested into your account, and then in 10 years, right? And then from there, you have an emergency, right? You need 30,000, 10,000, but you don't have that saved. You only have like $1,000 saved, and you don't want to tap into your credit card. You can initially borrow what you invested, and that is only 3.5% interest, way lower than credit card. And on top of that, it would initiate you to start investing, putting in more money into this account, because you know that in the future, if you need money, you can get it from here and not a credit card, right? And that is such a huge benefit. Especially, this is what I had a friend of mine do. She was investing into, I believe she was doing M1 Finance, and she borrowed money from here to start her own construction, her own house. And then once she sells it, right, and she gets a loan on it, she's going to reinvest that money back into her account. So it's only 3.5% interest. And it basically lets her to have that leverage of being able to have this house where she can actually have renters go in and pay her mortgage off. But because she doesn't have that income yet, she's gonna use her amount that she saved into her account and be able to do this, right? It's such a great way for you to start having different doors and opportunities to be able to invest into properties and real estate and all that good jazz. And you're not gonna be using your credit card, which is, 29%, 19% APR. You have 3.5%. Super small, insignificant. Yet I want you to be careful, and I don't want you to use this the wrong way. Only use it for either investing purposes and the numbers make sense, or it's a huge emergency and you really need to go against your portfolio, because if you take out money, it does impact your finances, right? But the cool thing about this is that you can only do that once you have $5,000 invested into this account. So I think this is a huge thing that M1 Finance is doing that other people aren't doing, because it does change the game. That means that more people will have the initiative or have the ability to invest more, because they know that if they ever need any type of savings or any money in the future, they have this, right? And then right here, you can do research, right? This is for companies, any type of ETF that you're looking for. You can go ahead and look at the news and educate yourself before buying anything. I will say this one thing before I show you the pies. And I got this from Meet Kevin, and he said, if you have no clue where to start by the things that you buy, the companies that you buy in your daily, right? Let's say that you love Starbucks, and I'm not a finance guru who says stop drinking Starbucks. No, if you love Starbucks, why not do some research on Starbucks and start to educate yourself and be like, hey, I use this product every day. Why not become a stock owner, right? Okay, so the most important part is, Jazmin, how does the portfolio or pies even work? How do I invest? How do I even create my own? So I didn't want to start anything. I do have $200, but I wanted to do this with yourself. So there are different things that you can actually look for. You can actually have your first pie started by either using an expert pie or creating your own. So we're gonna go ahead and view the pies, right? We're gonna wanna, you can either just do individual stocks and start adding them like this, right? Or you can see in the bottom it says add to pie, or you can do funds. They have different types of ETFs, index funds, and all that good jazz, bonds. Or you can look at expert pies. And I will say this one thing, and I will be showing you my strategy in the next video of how I'm doing this, but I'm going to be investing 80% of my money into what I'm going to show you right now, which is a moderate aggressive pie that they provide. And this is the same pie that they provide in Acorns, if you've heard of that app. So I think that's a very conservative way for me to put my money in, is since I'm a long-term investor. And then I'm going to using 20% of that money that I have in my fund into pies that I'll create manually. So companies that I want to start investing in individually. But it's one of those things where I don't recommend it to beginners, because you really have to do some research and keep up with those companies and make sure that your money isn't going to just be wasted or thrown out, because if that company does go bankrupt, you're out of that money, right? I want you to understand that this is not any game that you want to play with. That's why I'm going to show you right now what I'm going to do, and then in other videos I'm also going to educate you on what I look for in companies before I invest in them. So don't worry about that. For right now, let's just focus on opening up this account, and hopefully. By the way, if you have not already, go ahead and check out the description. I do have a referral link to M1 Finance, so you can get a goodie and then I can get a goodie. I believe it's the same reference as it is with Robinhood, but go ahead and use the link down below if I end up bringing you any value. It would help the channel, and of course, it would give me more cups of coffee. So the first one that I do want to show you is just general investing. This is basically just based on your tolerance of what you want to invest in, right? So this is what I was talking to you about before. I'm going to be investing into moderately aggressive. You can do ultra conservative if you're afraid of losing your money, or you can do ultra aggressive, meaning that you're okay with your whole pie being stocks. And ultra conservative would be mainly bonds. Now, I do want to educate you on this one thing that I've learned when I went to university and I was taking personal finance. And I want you to remember that stocks and bonds are like a seesaw, right? When stocks are up, bonds are down, meaning this is the time to buy bonds. And when stocks are up, right, because they're companies, they don't need to borrow any money from bonds, right? So you want to look at bonds as companies borrowing money and stocks as you owning a share of that company, right? So when stocks are doing good and the companies are doing good, the bonds, companies aren't borrowing any money from the bonds. So of course they are low and they're cheap and it's the time for you to buy them, right? When the market is hot, bonds are low. But when it's the opposite, right? There's a crash, there's a market crash and there's the whole disaster, stocks are down here, bonds are up here because less people are actually purchasing stocks and they're selling their stocks and they don't want to be any part of that. So companies tend to borrow money from bonds, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where when stocks are doing horrible, bonds are doing amazing. And I just want you to keep that in mind in case in the future you want to know, okay, what's happening right here? Do I want to have stocks? Do I want to have bonds? Which one do I want to purchase? And just remember, when stocks are doing amazing, it's time for us to buy bonds. And when bonds are doing amazing, it's time for us to buy stocks because that's when they're on discount. Okay, so now that I showed you that, I want to show you the one that I want to choose, which is this one. Right here, they have 8 different holdings and the expense ratio is 0.05%, which is super low based on different types of funds like mutual funds. And the dividend yield right here is 1.87. So let's say that I invest $100, my dividend yield will be against the $187. That's what I'm gonna get percent. That's what I'm gonna get in return. On top of here, you can see that the returns in 5 years have been 65%, right? So if you did nothing for 5 years, you would have a return of 65% on your money. But you always want to do your research, not just always just look at this, right? You want to make sure that what you're doing is right. So right here, you're going to see that it's mainly Vanguard. I am so sorry. What I meant to say, here we go. What I meant to say that I was going to invest into moderate. And the reason why, and I also got this from Tommy Bryson, he has helped my journey of when it comes to investing into M1 Finance, is because they have bonds right here. They have treasury bonds, and then they have this one, the Muni Bond ETF, right? You want to do your research on each one, but we can go ahead and talk each one. The one thing that I do want to show you before I go a deep dive in each one is basically look at the percentage, right? If I had $100, that means that $22 would be into this total bond market ETF Vanguard. And right here, it shows you to the expense ratio, which is 0.04, and the dividend yield for just having this one is $1.87, right? For that $86 stock. And then from there, you're going to go ahead to the next one. If I had $100, $18% would be invested into this Vanguard developed markets ETFs. And then right here, you can go ahead and look at the portfolio and look at the website. You can go ahead and visit the website, and it's going to show you exactly what they invest in and what they go look after, so you know exactly what to look for and all that good jazz. Now, if you do want to ever see the graph, you can go up here on the right tab and you can go ahead and flip your phone, and right here on this little circle on the bottom right, it's going to show you 5 years, right? We're going to go ahead and tap, and you're going to see how right here, if we tap on this one, it is March 23, 2020, when the whole COVID hit, right? And this is why you see a big drop. But if we look at, let's say, the 6 months, we're gonna see how it's been fluctuating. It's been good, but overall we can see that it has increased over time. It's even greater than it was before that crash in March 2020, which is a great sign. But you also want to go ahead and look at their 10K, or just look at their what they're investing in before you actually put your money into this account. But that is basically it. You're gonna see how about 10% is bonds, and around 90% is stocks or a sort of Vanguard ETF, right? Because I believe the first one was the bond market. So just keep that in mind. I mean, you're going to see conservative, ultra conservative, is mainly into the small caps and all that good jazz. 82% is basically in treasury bonds. So that's how you know this is very conservative. And usually how stocks and bonds work is the older you get, the more you want to invest more into bonds, less on stocks, because we really don't have any control on stocks and they can be very volatile. So that is right there. From there, sorry about that, we go back to the view pies. You're going to see how there's the responsible investing. This is like anything when environmental, you want to look at that and see how you can help. You can also do income earners, hedge fund followers. So you can go here and look at different people that you want to look at and see what they're investing in, just stocks and bonds or other strategies that you can go ahead and do some research on. The thing here also, I forgot to mention, you can also plan for retirement. So there's different plans and different pies here. So if you want to do 2020 conservative, if you want to do, let's go to 2045 aggressive, you get to go in here and look at what they're investing in and what they recommend, and you choose in whichever one you feel comfortable. Now, let's say, Jazmin, hey, I don't want to follow this. I don't want to have any hands off. I want to put hands on, and I want to invest into companies that I believe in, not what other people are investing in. And that is totally fine, because I'm going to do that too. 80% in one of these pies and 20% in what I want to invest in. So from there, I want to go ahead and show you how to do that. So we're going to go ahead and go to the stocks, right? Let's say that I want to invest into Apple. Okay, so the one thing that I want you to know is that when you click on the AAPL or ticker, you're going to have all of this information. You're going to see how much to pay for dividends, right? The cool thing about this is that it shows you the dividend yield, 50.57%, but it shows you also how much you're going to earn for that one hold of $146 for the stock, right? Other than that, you can also tap here and look at their graph, right? But if you ever want to look at the graphs or have more information, I would recommend for you to do your research on Yahoo Finance or finance.yahoo. And then from there, you can actually see exactly what's going on with the company, what their dividend yield was in the past, what they've done when the whole March 2020 hit, what their plan was and all that good jazz, and what they plan to do with their money in the future. But from here, I will say this, the reason why they don't pay much when it comes to dividends is because they tend to invest most of their money into their software so they can compete with Samsung, right? I believe so. You can tell how I'm an Apple user. So to create your new pie, you're going to want to go ahead and click add to pie. So from here, you're going to exit out, and we're going to go ahead and see that you only have one slice. So from here, let's just go ahead and see, I want to add Visa, and then I want to add Johnson & Johnson. So I'm going to go ahead and click done, and you're going to see that you created your new pie. From here, you can add or subtract more, and from here, you can go ahead and play around with the percentage that you want with each company, right? Let's say I want more Apple. The goal here is you want to have, and up here on the left, you're going to see total 97%. Let's say I want more Johnson & Johnson to make that 100%. The whole goal here, and this is why I love M1 Finance, is because it gives me the ability to actually either name my pie, create it however I want, use expert pies, but it's organized in a very like asset allocation, which is a fancy way to say organize your assets in one picture. On top of that, if you don't want just to create one pie like myself, I want to have an expert pie and my own individual play pie, or I can say I want to add this company, I want to take away this company, then you can have multiple pies. You have up to 5 pies, I believe, where you can play around and make it however you want. So you can have a stock pie, you can have a bond pie, you can have a REIT pie, just an ETF pie, right? Or you can organize all of them into one pie with all your money. And the cool thing about this is that M1 Finance also allows you to do fractional shares. So let's say that you don't have enough money to buy an Amazon stock. A fractional share means you don't have the $3,000, but you have 100. So you own a fraction of one share, one stock. And that is pretty cool because that is exactly the whole model of the pie. You don't have to purchase the entire stock. You can own a portion of that stock, which gives you the leverage to invest into other companies and be able to also create your own ETF. But I would recommend for you to also do your homework and look at what other people are investing in. Personally, I don't like to gamble with my money, and that is why I like to keep 80% of my long-term investments. And I would also recommend to tapping into what you're comfortable in, right? If you want to be very conservative, that is completely fine. If you want to be very aggressive, that is completely fine too, because at the end of the day, it's your money, your goal, your plan. And with that being said, hopefully I was able to bring you some value. And like I said before, you can go ahead and leave me down a comment down below, and I will try my best to answer them. Don't forget that I have a link down below with my M1 Finance. So if you want to end up using my link, I would be extremely grateful because it would basically give both of us a piece of a pie. And with that being said, always remember to be someone that makes you happy.